Hello, everyone. Oh, there we go. Hello, welcome, everyone. I'm your host, Christen Crumpler, and this is Musical Mind Games, powered by Classical Public Radio, WDAV. Musical Mind Games, otherwise known as MMG, is a live stream where we geek out about music and video games and the cool audio-visual experience that ensues when the two combine. And if any of that interests you, please consider giving the stream a like while you're here and subscribing to the WDAV YouTube channel so you can be notified when we have more MMG streams. And if you like any and everything related to music, you'll find a lot of good stuff there. So, thank you all for joining tonight. It's so nice to be back. Oh, we've got Tamberly in the chat as always. Very happy to have you here, Tamberly. And yeah, so it's very nice to see you all, and feel free to drop a hi or a hey, hello as you're coming in. And for the VOD watchers, the people who are watching this when it's not currently live streaming, thank you for tuning into. You matter as well to the community, so thank you for being a part of this community. It means a lot, so thank you. And let's just we have things to get into, so let's just go right into them. What we're talking about today for tonight's stream, we're talking about favorite video game endings. And personally, we're specifically talking about, my personal favorite video game endings, which the ones that I show you tonight, they are not an exhaustive list of what video game endings like I enjoy and have impacted me. It is a start though, but this is definitely the beginnings of a series, and so this topic will come back around again in the future, talking about different video games and their respective endings. So specifically, what endings are we going to talk about today? Well, we're going to talk about the music in the credits after finishing a pre in Mario Kart Wii. Then we're going to talk about the end credits music in the final sequence of Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. And then finally, the music in the season 1 and season 4 finales of the Telltale Walking Dead series. And that one was the one that made me be like, oh, we need to do a stream on video game endings for MMG, because I'll talk more about it when we get there, but I just keep thinking about that music from the Walking Dead season finale endings. So we're talking about those 3 games, and we're talking about some of the musical moments that have made a large impact on me and that I thoroughly enjoy, and just kind of wanted to share with you all if you haven't already heard of them before, or maybe you have and you can geek out and get psyched out with me as well. And before we get straight into what we're doing, the actual meat of the stream, know that I'm looking at chat. You don't have to chat if you don't want to. You could be a lurker. You can have this stream on in the background while you're doing things. But also, if you feel compelled to chat and, interact with the community, feel free to do so. I'm taking a look at the chat, and, I may every now and then see what you're saying and might say it back, but don't just say things to get me to read it. But that's, if you feel compelled to interact with the community, know that the chat's there and I've got my eye on it. So a bit of a background about how we're gonna talk about these games tonight, or just video game endings. I do want to say, since we are talking about endings, I feel like that's obvious enough that there will be spoilers, but if that's not obvious, I will say it right now. Spoiler warning! We will be talking about the endings of games, and so if you haven't seen them before, there's great chance that you will be spoiled with it. And so if that means a lot to you to not know the ending to a game preemptively, make sure to come back to the stream once you've completed the game or once you've seen a playthrough of the game itself. Just make sure to come back and watch the stream once you've actually watched the ending. But I'll also say, even if you haven't played the games, at least in my perspective, seeing the sequences of the games endings and such beforehand, it can end up motivating you to achieve that in your own playthrough rather than feeling bad about being spoiled. So I encourage you to keep that in mind, and reframe that perspective as I'm spoiling these games endings for you. But really, I look at them as motivation sometimes, especially, when I don't have the opportunity or access to play the games myself. I see the ending and it motivates me either to try again on a game that I haven't completed or get the game that I don't have. So that's kind of how I look at seeing game endings before I've played them or watched them myself. I see it as motivation to get there and create a journey with it. And so game endings with video games, one thing I'll note about them is that these ending sequences for mainly most of the video games that have endings, they can be really rewarding in its experience, whether it's a sign of accomplishment for beating the challenge of the game or for making it to the end of a game's narrative. They are an important characteristic of encapsulating and marking your journey with the game. And so it's like, in a way, you make a bond with the ending of a video game. Like I said, it's a nice bow, tying in the knot towards the end of your journey with the video game, or at least maybe your first time or several times. So don't skip over those ending credits. They have a lot of valuable things, is what I'm trying to say. So with that being said, I'd like to start talking to you about some of these games and their ending credits and the music that I really love hearing from it, as well as how it combines with the visual aspects and the whole context of when you actually finish the game. So we're gonna turn off the music. Let's see. Yeah, we're gonna turn off the music and just chill with that. And we're gonna start talking about some of the games. So the first one that I want to talk about is Mario Kart Wii. It is a game that I have played, and I remember playing extensively. But I pretty much tried to try hard this game when I got it. If you're not aware, Mario Kart Wii is the racing part of the Mario Kart franchise, and it came out for the Wii console. And it has a lot of different tracks that go and resonate with the Mario universe. I love it so much. I am a Mario Karter. I am an avid Mario Karter. And so when I got this game, I definitely, one of the aspects is they have pre's, which are like cups and such. So usually you have 4 tracks in a cup, and you do that straight through and complete that. And if you complete it and win, not just, pass through, but get in the top 3, you are given an ending credits, and you are on the winning podium, and there's music that comes with that. And also on the home screen, it gives you a gold flag for completing it if you finished it in first, and silver flag if you complete it in second, bronze if you complete it in third. So for me, I was definitely, when I say I was in my try hard era, I was trying to get all gold flags, finish first in all of the different cups across all the different racing difficulties. And so I heard this ending credit music a lot. It's definitely something that's nostalgic for me, but it's not solely nostalgic. It also has some cool qualities in it that I think you all will appreciate as well. So we're gonna listen to this. So first, I want to take you through different sections of this ending credit. We can't sit here the whole stream and show you a video straight through, but I can show you some of the moments that I enjoy. So you hear, for context, you hear this music after you finish a pre, like I said, and if you've made it into the top 3 for the most part, I hardly ever got below 3, so I can't really speak on that experience. But for my experience, after getting first multiple times, the ending credit music would usually play afterwards. And so this first, there are like 3 different themes in it. There's the podium theme, there's the first really ending credit musical theme, and then there's a second one which is one of my favorites. So the first credit theme, or the first sequence theme that you see for the podium, it helps to, get you ramped up and riled up. All the adrenaline is pumping from just finishing the race and finishing it in first sometimes. And so I'll show that so you can get an idea of what that is. And beware, there may be some ads, YouTube ads. We're just gonna roll through it. We're gonna keep going, but just be aware. If there's ads, we're gonna hop back into the video as soon as it gives us that skip button. So. Alrighty, y'all. This is already so nostalgic to begin with. So, like I said, this is after you've finished all of the 4 races. If you're in first, which the person's knee is in first, you're right up there, and and the adrenaline, it's all so hyped from finishing, because it takes a lot to make sure you finish in first for every single race. Okay, hear this. Dun, dun, da, dun, da, 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 da. One of the things I wanted to point out with that theme you just heard, the dun, da, 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 that theme, it actually comes back around in the later, most recent Mario Kart game, Mario Kart 8 and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which I've also played. I'm telling you, when I say when I'm an avid Mario Karter, I mean it. But that theme right there, that also gets retextualized. It's not in ending credits, but it gets recontextualized and kind of revamped in the Mario Kart 8 game. And it has guitars and everything, and so it's just neat to see how it's here and how it grows in a future game. So for those of you who've played Mario Kart before, that whole dun da da theme will be very familiar to you. Okay, so this is the first credit theme that I'm gonna play now, and listening to it, like I said, all that adrenaline for finishing in first, it helps to calm you down, calm that adrenaline, kind of helps you to realize, I finally did it. I can breathe, I don't have to be stressed like I was trying to finish all of these races. So it helps to calm down and helps you to soak in, I won. I completed it. It's time to take a breath. So this is that first ending credit theme. It's very chill, but it's also wistful and, for me, nostalgic at the same time. I love the mellowness of it. I love the funky nature of it. It definitely, you hear this funk groove throughout all the different aspects of the Mario Kart Wii game, from the title screen, from the rest of the ending credit themes that you'll hear later on, but it's very present and it feels characteristic for Mario and Nintendo during this time. This game came out, I believe, 2008 or 2006. It's in that time frame. It's very characteristic of it. So I just wanted to give you a taste of that. I may spoil you, but I'm going to try not to spoil you completely with everything. So that's that first ending credit theme. And the second one is my favorite, because the second one, it immediately takes you away from that calm mood that we were just in. It reminds you, hey, you just won. It's time to celebrate, not time for sleeping. So it kind of ramps and riles you back up. I love it so much. So I'm going to play you the first bit, and there was something just in the first few bits of music that you hear in the beginning of the second theme. There are some musical characteristics that I want to point out to you that you'll be able to figure out. So let me pull that up for you. All right. I want to also demonstrate the contrast. So you're going to hear the end of the chill theme going into the more hype theme. I love how wistful and reflective, but also it's also still celebratory in its own way. I love it. Yeah, this is what we're talking about. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. I love this so much. It just brings me back to finishing all the different cups and races, whether it's 50cc, 100cc, 150, and mirror mode. For those of you who've played Mario Kart or know about racing, you'll know what I'm talking about. But it's so nostalgic and just a great, memory listening to the music. I hear this music and I think about all of the times when I played this game, and I love that just the music alone can take me back to that time when I was, trying hard at Mario Kart Wii. But that theme that we heard, the da 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 da, for whatever reason, when I'm listening to it, and I'm curious to know if you all can hear this similarity as well, but I hear some similarities in those repeated keyboard chords that I relate to the groove of the iconic Mario Bros. Theme. It's not one-to-one, it's not an exact replication, but there's something in it musically that lets me know that it's from the same cloth. It's related. As you know, the iconic Super Mario Bros. Theme is the da 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 da. And so that that da 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 da, it's something in that musical motion that I hear a similarity. Maybe because it starts on a similar note, the da 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 and da 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 da, but for me it lets me know, hey, we're still in the vein of Mario. We are in the Mario universe. Mario cinematic universe. And so that's just, I love what that second theme does. It immediately, again, still reiterates to you, hey, we're gonna take you out, but we're gonna take you out Mario style. We're gonna congratulate you Mario style. And so it feels very characteristic to the world that Mario has built, up to then. So there's that first theme. And the last bits that I want to show you of this second ending credits theme is that I can actually hear some of the melodies from some of the game's tracks interpolated in the ending theme. I just took a look at the chat. Very vibey. Yes, that's one way to describe it. And I agree that the music, very vibey in this ending credits. But yeah, I can hear some of the melodies from different tracks in the Mario Kart Wii game in this ending credits theme. So the first one I hear, it didn't come to me when I was tryharding Mario Kart all this time before, in my past, but I actually came upon this recently. But I hear it and it makes sense to me, and I want to know whether like you're actively watching this in the stream or you're looking at this past it being live. Comment, chat, let me know if you can hear some of these similarities that I'm hearing. But the first one that I've recently come upon, that I hear the melody from the track Maple Treeway interpolated. And so by interpolated, I mean it's referenced in some musical way. It may not be a one-to-one, but it's similar enough to be like, hey, this kind of sounds similar to this other theme. And for those of you who aren't familiar with the Maple Treeway track, it's a track where there are lots of maple trees. You are, and it has the big caterpillar-esque yellow wigglers that are walking around on the track. So it's that huge tree fall leaves looking track on Mario Kart Wii, and it's also on Mario Kart 8. But the theme that I hear from that is, so to kind of vocally let you know what it sounds like, the music sounds like da 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 da. That's what the beginning melody for the Maple Treeway sounds like. And so I can hear that interpolated in a slower fashion. You'll hear what I mean by it being slower, and then I'll kind of compare and kind of sing the difference for you. Sing the difference for you. So let's see. That is, let me jump forward. Here we go. Here we go. So again, listen out for that theme being somewhat translated into this ending credits section. You hear it? So could you hear it? The da 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 da. That, when I was listening to this recently, like in the past couple of weeks, I was like, that sounds like Maple Treeway, but just slower and more spaced out, the actual notes. So again, the original was da 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 da, and then you heard da 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 da. I don't know. When I heard that, I was like, that's pretty neat, because I hadn't caught on to that one before. It's this next one that I almost immediately heard every time when I was playing this in the past. And I was tryharding and trying to get all gold. I distinctly could piece out, and I was like, hey, the second theme that I'm about to play for you, that is clearly from one of the tracks that I played before in the game, and they've wrapped it in and kind of recontextualized it. So that second theme that I hear outside of the Maple Treeway interpolation, I hear the incorporation of the melody from Moo Moo Meadows in the climax of this second ending credit theme. And that one I could sing for you, but it wouldn't make sense. So I have a little bit of the snippet of the beginning melody of Moo Meadows to play for you, so you can hear what I'm talking about. But I will list. It's like right at the beginning, and it's this dun 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 dun. But that is why I have a video, so you don't have to go off of my musings alone. It's right out the gate, and it's so early. So this one, I hear the beginning theme from this track. So pay attention, because it's right there. You heard you heard it. It's better than my reinterpretation of it, or recreation of it, but it's there. And so that one's a more clear one-to-one kind of note for note. You can hear that melody within the ending credits theme, but it's recontextualized. This one in Moo Moo Meadows, the energy is up, it's happy, it's fun throughout the whole time. Not to say it's not happy and fun in the ending credits here, but it feels like it serves as one reminder musically to remind you, hey, you beat Moo Moo Meadows, you beat Maple Treeway, you beat Rainbow Road, and it's just reminding you by throwing in some of the melodies from the tracks you've played before. So whenever I heard that, I was like, I love that reminder that I accomplished this. So rather than me just talk about it, let me show you. So let me see. Doing a lot of going back and forth, but I promise you it's worth it musically. Let's see. Alrighty. So this is the Moo Moo Meadows theme. You can hear it, and it's twice, but it's distinct. So this one, I think you'll be able to piece out a lot quicker than the Maple Treeway one. So here it is. I want to lead you up into it since I skipped around most of the ending credits song. Here it is. And it's coming again. And those are the two times when it plays. And it's just, oh, I love the music so much. But whenever I heard that, and when I made that distinction when I was first going through all of it and I heard it, I was like, that's that theme from that one track. And it's just, I love it. It's like a nice callback musically. It's like a fond reminder of everything that you as a player have accomplished up till then. And so whenever it comes through, and whenever I sit there and listen to the ending credits music, I love hearing it. It's like I said, it is a nice reminder. So that's the first one. That's Mario Kart Wii. That's what I want to say about the ending credits for that. And if you felt that I jumped around, I will have the links to the videos that I'm showing you in the stream description once the stream goes up and gets published. So have no fear. Have no fear. You will be able to see some of the videos and references that I'm making, and that will be in the description. And so I highly encourage you, if you're interested from the snippets that I've showed you tonight, to look at them again in full on your own, because the music's really great, especially when it's not interrupted and you're not trying to dodge YouTube and their copyright system. But that's another conversation. So the second game that I want to talk about, the second favorite game ending, I want to talk about The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. This is another game that I have played in its entirety and completed beginning to end. Not 100%ed, but again, completed beginning to end. And this is a game that I would love to, at some point in the future, I don't know how far off and how hard and impossible it might be, but I would love to in the future play this on an MMG stream and walk you all through it, because there are so many musical themes within the Twilight Princess game that I love so much, means so much to me, and has helped shape some of my musical interests as well. And I feel like while it's not impossible to do maybe several different MMG streams talking about my favorite tunes and themes from this one game alone, I feel like it might be better served to actually play it in front of you all, with you all, and have a journey with you all. But sadly, I have the game, but not the console, not the version console that's needed for the version I have for its game. So, but for now, we're gonna, imagine that we've already completed that journey and listen to the ending sequence, some of the bits and pieces of the ending sequence from Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. So where we're coming in, what you'll see, you, Link player, you have just defeated Ganondorf in his human form, but also last form. You, as far as I remember, he's got a sword in his chest at this point. And it's really dramatic, but also you'll note at that first stretch, so again, this is starting the ending for the game, there's not as much music, but I feel like that even speaks itself, there not being a lot of music present right at the beginning of this ending sequence, because it, in my perspective, it's like reframing, Link, you worked so hard up until now, and you've had to go through chaos, from chaos to chaos to chaos, and finally you've defeated the big bad, which is Ganondorf, and there's silence, there's a moment to breathe, there's just a moment of ambiguity, you can take a moment, you can pause, and so that's what this first kind of minute and a half tells me. So let's listen to it and see what you get from it. I told you, sword in the chest. Do not think this ends here. I'm no voice actor. The history of light and blood will be... light and shadow will be written in blood. That lack of music is telling you what to focus on. And then when you hear it, it tells you even more what to focus on. There's Zant. And there goes Ganondorf. Again, you just hear the wind. I feel like that's very impactful. Just like, if you have not played the game, or if you have not watched the game, like, this dude, he takes on like 3 different forms or stages just to defeat Ganondorf. I mean, he's the final boss, so it has to take some effort to defeat him. And so there's just so much pressure and stress leading up to this moment, but it's like the wind knocked out of you a little bit, where you've done all this chaos and then it's just silence, all the congratulatory music and themes don't come streaming in just yet. It leaves you hanging, like it wants you to sit with what just happened. And so that absence of music in that moment. Just hearing the sound, again, absence of music, except with the exception of Zant, but not absence of sound. It wants you to hone in on, like, it's finished. It is now finished. Your journey, Link, your journey, player, it's finished, and you can breathe. That's what that kind of feels like. And so the next part of this ending sequence, which I love how it musically describes what's going on. For context, there's this also other protagonist or character in the game who aids Link. And for those who don't know Legend of Zelda, Link is the guy in the green tunic, green outfit that we saw. But this other character that aids Link, her name is Midna. And the thing about her is she is the princess of the Twilight Realm. But from Zant, the dude who did that and killed Ganondorf, and Ganondorf himself, they cursed her and turned her into an imp, as they say. And so throughout the majority of the game, she aids Link while she is cursed. And at one of the sections, at one of the stages when you're defeating Ganondorf, right before Link and Zelda get teleported out of Hyrule Castle, Midna teleports them, and she's fighting Ganondorf herself. And once they, get teleported, you can see kind of in the distance that she's still defeating Ganondorf. And then when Ganondorf eventually comes back in his human form, he's on a horse, and you can see him holding the headgear that she has been wearing on her head the entire game, and it crumbles in his hands and falls to the ground. So it kind of alludes that, she might not be with us anymore. But it's still ambiguous, so you don't really know. So you spend the whole rest of that final battle with Ganondorf on the horse, and then sword fighting him, not knowing if Midna died or not. And so there's this next section that I'm about to show here. It kind of gives us more details and gives us a conclusion in terms of what happened to Midna earlier in this final battle. So we're gonna look at that, and from that on, it's gonna lead into my favorite reimagining of the Hyrule music theme Hyrule Field music theme that plays in this game. So let's take a listen to it. Let's listen. Now the music is back. You see the spirits in the background. This musical theme that's playing right now has been in previous Legend of Zelda games. So it's nice to hear that being brought back at the end. And there's Midna. That's Beck right back there. That's Midna right there. And it seems as if she's still in her imp form. Again, Link spent this whole journey with her, going through all these things, so of course he would care about her and want to know, if she's okay. At least that's my assumption. So that the music helps to communicate that, are you okay? What's going on? So emotional. This is the first time you see Midna in her adult non-imp form, her true form. So it's pretty big. I know I probably spoiled something very major, but I told you. You were already warned. What? Say something.
Beautiful space.
Am I so beautiful that you've no words left? Well, Link doesn't speak much to begin with, so... And here we go. the reimagining of the Twilight Princess Hyrule Field theme. When you hear the theme in regular gameplay before the ending, its orchestration and arrangement is more full, and it's not just plucked instruments or a single instrument playing the melody. It's like the whole orchestra more often than not. But here, it's kind of stripped down, you know. I like that different context of it with, you know, during the game context, it's like, we're on a journey. We're on a heroic journey. We need to amp ourselves up and get prepared for battle. By this point here in the ending credits, you've already completed the battle. And so this is letting you know this is still connected to the journey that we just took, but it's finally completed. And you can be proud and you can celebrate. Again, that's what a lot of these ending credit themes do. It helps bring in that reflection of this journey that you just went through, but also celebration for it as well. And I like how it's not shy, but it's like an assertive calmness. I love it. It's very confident about it displaying that you just finished the game. Oh, it's making. You hear that theme? That's a pretty iconic sound as well from the Legend of Zelda theme. Dun, da, 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 da. From those of you who've played Ocarina of Time, you will know. Oh, I just saw the chat. This sounds like a bridge between one epic journey to the next. It is! It honestly does help with that. I believe, I may be wrong about this, but I think the next large Legend of Zelda game that came after this was Skyward Sword for the Wii. And so it definitely helps to branch that. This is, if you all aren't aware, the Legend of Zelda universe, it's a big one. It has so many different timelines and branches and stuff. You'd think it's the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But, so there are many different, like, stories to tell within the Legend of Zelda universe. And so, like, you know, like the chat says, you know, sounds like a bridge between one epic journey to the next. It's because it is finishing this retelling of the hero, Link, and then getting you prepared to talk about the next retelling and story and journey of the next iteration of Link's, because it's Link. He always comes back, but just in a different setting with a different story. So I like that. I like that description. So I wanted to show you one more moment within this ending credit scene for Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. And to give context, there is this mirror that is used to help the characters traverse between the light world and the twilight world. And this mirror at one time was broken up into 4 large pieces. That's important. 4 large pieces. But at some point in the game, you fix it and fuse it back to itself and repair it. And so Link is able to go back and forth between the light world and the twilight world. And so, of course, Midna is from the Twilight Realm. And so this last scene that I'll show you again, which I feel like all the music with surrounding Midna in this last ending sequence is emotional, but it does so well depicting that emotion. So I want to show you that, and that'll be the last clip from Legend of Zelda. I told you about the ads. I told you about the ads. This is not the free promotion. So here they are. The mirrors, that big, huge honking circle to the left of everybody. And so I'm gonna play the sequence. Well, I guess
I
it's
don't
farewell,
to
huh?
get it wrong.
Light and shadow can't mix, as we all know.
This
But
way going to
never
work.
forget that there's another world bound to this one. Shadow and light are two sides of the same coin. One cannot exist without the other. I know now the reason the goddesses left the Mirror of Twilight in this world. They left it because it was their design that we should meet. Yes, that is what I believe. Zelda, your words are kind and your heart is true.
Keep me well.
If all in Hyrule are like you,
Right, with base.
then maybe you'll do all right. Four large pieces, remember that. Thank you. Well, the princess spoke truly. As long as that mirror is around, we could meet again. Philip, she's talking to Link. Link. See you later. It's the realization of having to permanently say goodbye to a new friend that you've made, a great bond and friendship that you've just made. And I feel like that music just depicts that emotion just so well. The Twilight world is closed off from the light world. Not me tearing up. That's not the last theme that plays in that ending credit scene, but it feels pretty final. It feels pretty final at that point. Like I was saying, it's once the Mirror of Twilight shatters and you see the characters react to it, you see Link react to it, and as a player, that's kind of your similar reaction too, because not only did Link spend that journey with Midna, you technically did as well too. So seeing it shatter and realizing the finality of it all, that it's no longer these four large pieces that you could possibly mend back together, but instead is these tiny little fragments that now shatter that you can't possibly get all at once and put together. That demonstrates her world being closed off from theirs, and it leaves you confused about whether or not, why did she do it? But that's getting away from the music and gaming intersectional point of it. But to get back to the main point, for me, it does a great job, a splendid job of musically describing the emotions for a situation like that, of having to say goodbye to a friend that you've made along the way, that, they may have been in, just, let's say in this situation, it may have just been in Link's life for this journey, but just because that's the fact that she's only been present for this point in his life, it does not minimize her impact to it. And so all the music right there with the moment with Midna, I feel like that is just perfectly emotional. and I love it, and that's why this ending credits it replays in my head. I feel like it's well worth it when you finish the game to get that ending sequence. I feel like it helps justify the journey that you've been through. So that's one of I really do enjoy that ending credit sequence from The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. Hopefully in the future, one day, crossing my fingers, can play this on a future MMG stream. But until that day, we shall continue on with the last game that I want to talk about. And the last game and its music that I want to talk about, I have not played personally, but I've watched a whole bunch of playthroughs of the entire game as it was coming out. And this is the Telltale Walking Dead series. This game, it has just the finishing of this series has its own journey and stuff to talk about too. But that is a whole separate different conversation on that. But I've not played the Walking Dead series. I tried to once, episode 1 on my phone when they offered it as an app game, but I've not played these episode finales, game finales to the Walking Dead series. I've only watched it, but that hasn't, like I said about that motivation at the beginning of the stream, it's motivated me to actually play it at some point, in the future, and it hasn't impacted me any less because I've only watched it and not played it. I'm sure it'll impact me more once I've played it myself, but the impact that it's made just from watching it, it's definitely there. And so we're gonna look, as I said at the beginning of the stream, we're gonna look at, or I'm going to talk about the season 1 episode 5 finale end credits and the season 4 episode 4 kind of ending sequence. I can't play you the music that I want to for this because, as I said, I've watched a lot of playthroughs of it, but all of the playthroughs, most often I know that YouTube does not like you playing the music on it. But to not deprive you of the opportunity to listen to it, here's let me see if I can post it. This is the link. I can't post links. Whoa! You know what? I will post this in the stream description with all of the rest of the videos that you've already seen in the stream. The links for those will pop up and you will see them in the description once the stream gets published. Once they're up there, I highly encourage you, look at those videos for The Walking Dead that I share. Again, it's the season 1 episode 5 end credits and the season 4 episode 4 and ending sequence kind of. It's a larger stretch than just the credits for season 4, but that ending sequence on its last episode. So what I want to say about it is that this game, even though I can't play the music for you, this game, its music is what kind of inspired me to talk about favorite video game endings tonight. Because when I'm just sitting and not particularly thinking about anything at a time, I just find the ending, not just the music, but the ending of the Walking Dead series, the Telltale one, coming back to my mind and, coming back like a record playing. I just am reminded of all the emotions that come with playing or having finished, that game or finished watching it at the very least. And you all might be like, Walking Dead, for those of you all that are familiar with the TV show series, this one, I feel like this one is more true to the comic book that Telltale is basing off of. So you'll see maybe some universe characteristics connected to the show series, but treat this as its own creative work, the Telltale Walking Dead series. So in the episode 5 of season 1, so that last episode, at the end, there's this little girl which makes a big impact. Her name is Clementine, and our main protagonist, the one that you play as, he, throughout the majority of season 1, he is tasked to kind of take care of her, because her parents aren't there and she's without her parents in the zombie apocalypse. So he's been kind of like a parental guardian figure for her through the entirety of this zombie apocalypse mess. But at the end, our main character, Lee, our protagonist, the one we play as, he gets bitten by one of the zombies called a walker. The zombies are called walkers. He got bit by one of them, and the infection is taking over. And at that point, the little girl, well, you as a player, you decide whether or not the little girl should end your protagonist's life or just walk away and leave him to turn into a walker. You decide that as a player, but that's the big emotional climax that you're walking away from at the end of the series. Again, I said I'd spoil, so if you're like, oh, why would you say that? I've already prefaced that we would spoil in tonight's stream. And obviously that if you've gotten up to that point and you know the context of the game, that's a very big moment. And at that point, you've bonded with, the characters in the game. You bonded with your main protagonist that you play as, and you see your main character dying. You don't have a choice to prevent it. So it's a very emotional ending, seeing that stretch. And then after that, depending on whatever choice is made, after that, you have this music. And this song, this is why I wanted to talk about this game. There's this song, the one that gets muted and copyrighted. It's called Take Us Back by Alela Diane. And it starts off with like this kind of melancholic violin sound, and it sounds country. A lot of the time you're in like Georgia and in the rural parts of Georgia. That's where season 1 takes place, and having to do a lot of woods and kind of camping, survival-esque things in places where you see desolate buildings, but then you're also in the middle of the woods. And I feel like the version that plays in the ending of season 1, it is such a great reflection of the environment and world and universe that the Walking Dead series takes place in this game. And that melancholic feeling and sound that you hear in that violin, it helps to describe that just feeling of loss that you hear just from losing your main character, Lee. And I feel like the title of that song, it's so fitting. It's called Take Us Back. And by that point, as a player, whether you're playing it or you've watched the ending, you're thinking, at least I'm thinking, take us back to the time before Lee got infected, to before the zombie apocalypse, before everything went bad. Take us back. It's not regret, but it's definitely there's a heavy sadness towards the end of the season, and that music helps to describe that sadness that you feel at that point from having to make not just that last big decision, but like the tip of, or like the straw that breaks the camel's back after a whole season, multiple episodes of having to make hard decision after hard decision after hard decision. And So whenever I listen to that one, it's just that violin melody and the vocal singing in it. It comes back to me. It comes back to me every now and then because it's definitely an emotionally impactful musical theme. Again, I'm not playing it now, but the links to it and the kind of videos I'd like you to see of what I'm describing will be put in the stream description. So please, I encourage you to look at both videos if this is driving your curiosity, because you won't be disappointed. And so it's interesting that that's how season 1 ends, and then there's this bonus ending credit. But the ending of the last season for the game Walking Dead series is season 4, and the last episode for that season is, funnily enough, called Take Us Back, which is the name of the song. But in a way, it's also a great way to kind of like put an end on the series, that take us back to, you know, about the feelings and emotions that we had, and thinking about all of the previous 4 seasons that we've completed up to now. Take us back emotionally and by remembering. So the name of that episode is called Take Us Back, and the emotional moment that I want to call out is, so for context, Clementine, much like what Lee was like for her, she is now a guardian for another kid that she had come into throughout her time surviving through the apocalypse. So in a previous season, so this kid is called AJ, and she's at this point, AJ is kind of like her sibling. She's also, like I said, a guardian figure for him, and she is then at the end of episode 4 put in quite the same position that Lee was put in. Clementine gets infected, and AJ is now faced with a similar decision like Clementine had to make during the episode 5 season 1 finale of the Walking Dead game. And so all those emotions are heightened same way like it was before. It takes us back to those emotions, and before we know what decision is made, it shows us a flashback of Clementine finding AJ again, because at one point they were separated. So it shows her finding AJ again and some of the roots to his trauma that he has, because that is another point to AJ's character within the whole season 4 game. But we aren't told, kind of like Midna when I was talking about Twilight Princess, we aren't told immediately what's Clementine's fate, whether she's left to turn into a walker or she asks AJ to end her. And so it just cuts back to AJ back at the school where most of the gameplay was taking place. It cuts back to the school, and all this time you're like, what's happened to Clementine? What's happened to Clementine? But there's this one stretch as he's walking back to the woods, you hear the song by Alela Diane come back. The song is Take Us Back, and it comes back towards the very end, and you don't hear much voice acting then. It feels, again, you're hit with that melancholic mood, but it's also in a way wistful, because AJ, the character, he doesn't seem as distraught as we are as players at that point. And so you're trying to understand and gauge his emotions. Is he heartbroken? What's happened? Has Clementine died? But all the while, the music Take Us Back is playing, and again, making you remember all the moments from all the different seasons of The Walking Dead. And so I'm going to make a decision not spoil. I mean, I might have alluded to it, but I'm not going to spoil whether or not what the outcome of it. But I just want to say with the Walking Dead music for those season finales, and the series finales, take us back along with many other themes that are used within the series. But take us back specifically. It is, I feel like it perfectly communicates and describes some of the sad, heavy feelings and the position and world that your characters are put in, whether, you know, you're an adult or you're a teenager or a young child having to go through it. You know, the characters in this Walking Dead universe, I feel like it describes that sense of kind of like heaviness that you come across while playing the game. And I don't know, I think about it every now and then only because I just really appreciate the execution of it. It's a great gaming experience, and it's one that I want to eventually play for myself. I'm motivated to reach that journey from actually playing it myself. But I hope my description of that has helped, at least until you can actually see the sequences that I'm talking about. And again, if you want to look this up before I publish and put the links in the stream description, it's the season 1 episode 5 ending of the Walking Dead Telltale series, and also season 4 episode 4 of the same gaming series. So those 3 games, Mario Kart Wii, Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, and the Walking Dead series, it is those, I think back to those, and they're all very distinctive. You know, they have their different feelings and you know, priorities and reasons, motivations for what kind of music that they're playing, but they all hit with great impact. At least it has for me when I came across either playing or watching these games. And like I said, they're all distinct in their own way. So it's amazing to see that overlap of how something, or how music genres and endings can be so different, but can affect you in the same intense level all the same. And that's what I really appreciate about those 3. But like I said, it's not an exhaustive list of gaming moments that are ending gaming moments that I enjoy. There are many other games that I've reached the end to, whether it's been playing it myself or watching it online, on YouTube, on the internet. There are many other games that have impacted me as well in terms of their endings, and so we'll probably talk about those in the future as well. But that's it for talking about those games tonight, and I'm gonna bring us back with some tunes so we can get back into our ending setting. Yeah, but I hope you all have enjoyed some of the commentary and some of the videos that I showed on those games, and let me know if that was your first time being introduced to any of the games that I mentioned, or if you've already heard of them before and if you love them as much as I do, or maybe even more. I'd like to know. And I hope you've enjoyed the stream so much. Thank you for coming again to this stream. It means so much to have you here, whether you're actively chatting or you're just here laying back, chilling, and using this like a podcast in the background. I appreciate it all the same. We appreciate it. So I want to make sure that this is on you all's radar, that our next stream is this Friday. You don't have to wait all 2 weeks. We have another stream coming this Friday. It's a bonus stream. And it's Friday, February 21st at 6 p.m. We will be playing the game Just Shapes and Beats. Ooh, if you've heard of it before, get ready. We're going to have some fun playing the story mode. And if you haven't heard of it, I highly encourage you check out Friday's stream. It's really fun. You're going to see electronic music mixed with the game's level design. So it's very interesting. I'll let the game speak for itself on Friday. But again, make sure to tune in to Friday's bonus stream at 6 p.m. All right. Make sure, if you enjoy the commentary that you've heard in this stream, or any of the things that we've talked about, just MMG, please consider subscribing to the WDAV channel so you can know the next time when we stream, and so that you can see more content on music and other things as well, not just music and gaming, but other intersectional areas as well. There is a wealth of great stuff and content to see on the WDAV channel. So consider subscribing, and consider, before you leave, giving a like to the stream before you leave. Also, don't forget to check out existing MMG content with the links in the stream description. So you'll see the links for the video examples that I showed and that I didn't also show today, but as well as that, you'll see the email list link and how to get to the WDAV website and how to get to our other content. So make sure to check that stream description down below. All right, if you've enjoyed commentary from me, this is not the only thing that I do. I also have a 4 p.m. Sunday shift on air at the WDAV station. So you can listen to that either through the traditional radio, whether it be, in the car, or you got one of those traditional, just its own device radio, or you can listen to it on your phone through our WDAV mobile app. And if you've missed my shift, you can also listen to it retroactively by listening to our archive at wdav.org/archive. I want to thank you all so much for joining tonight. It was wonderful, and just so thankful to have you all. I'm Christen Crumpler, and I'll catch you in the next stream. Bye.